We had two practices, yesterday, today, both in pads. I thought we got a lot of work done. It was actually very lively. We finished off the last two practices with a couple 8-play drives, some scrimmaging with some of the guys that didn't get to play much, and that was good. Just good, hard-nosed football, giving guys opportunities to play and show what they can do. That was good. Mostly fundamental work against each other. Didn't get a lot of scout team work, but we'll hit a little bit of that tomorrow, and then by Monday the game plan will be in completely, and we'll focus 100% on North Texas. And it's nice and warm today. We always like the weather report. So. All right, I'm ready to answer questions.
Almost surprised to see Todd out there and Keith out there and Jay Rome, some guys that were dinged up, but obviously good enough to go.
Yeah, Jay practiced. Jonathan Rump practiced. Those are two guys that weren't playing. Gurley he practiced today. Like you said, Keith Marshall practiced. Who else is banged up? Gates isn't out there yet. I don't even remember who else, but most everybody practiced today, and we think everybody will be ready to play next week.
Gates is sprain.
I guess you call it a sprain, grade 1 MCL or whatever, ankle and knee, both got it a little bit, but we think he'll be fine.
I was intrigued by something you said at the touchdown club that turned into a story yesterday about Spurrier telling you to never take the Georgia job when you were kind of a young assistant.
No, it was, we were talking, I think it might have been during the time that I was interviewing for the Georgia job. I think he was just playfully saying, I wouldn't take that Georgia job if I was you, but it was not that big a deal.
So it wasn't in the early 90s, it was more late 90s?
I think it was right before I took the job.
Okay.
I think he knew I'd interviewed for it. The rumor. Well, no, the rumor never got out, did it? I don't know what happened with that thing. Maybe it might have been the 5 years prior. I don't know when it was, but he was halfway playing around, I think.
You said Rump practice today. You expect him to play North Texas. Do you expect impact out of him right away, significant time?
I don't know. I think the better he practices, the more confidence Coach Ball will have to get him into a rotation. I don't know if he'll get in as a rotation, from the very beginning, or it'll be contingent on how the game goes. I'm not sure exactly where he's at, but he'll be available to play. He was getting a lot of work on special teams. Coaches are trying to incorporate him back into that. If he wasn't injured, I think he'd have been playing by now, and scrimmage snaps and some special team snaps. Right now, you kind of get behind, especially if you haven't established yourself being new. So we'll see how it goes.
Marlo Herrera, 25 tackles right now, leads the SEC. He causes a fumble in the South Carolina game and it's in on that fourth.
Right.
And go, it's what you expected from him. Is he exceeding expectations?
I'm just proud of him, happy for him. He's worked really hard. He made it a point to try to get leaner and get quicker. I think it's paying off for him. I think he still, can play physical enough. So I think he's being rewarded for the work that he put in, and been a good leader for us.
Where there's just overall on defense, how much of it would you attribute to just lack of experience combined with the two teams you had to play open the season? You think it's a little different when you're playing teams like that, right?
Yeah, we played we played two really good teams, two very good offensive football teams. And like you said, we're still trying to figure it out as a group. Some guys got it figured out better than others. Some guys are still struggling just to line up right. So it'll take time, and to get 2 games under your belt and now an open date, it's going to be helpful for those guys.
With Scott Wesley, y'all knew he had the speed to get over the what he did on that one. Has he surprised y'all with just the way he's been able to have success
those
Um,
intermediate routes and even his block?
I think that he's been one of those guys, kind of like Marlon Brown, where it didn't come just like that, but it was just a steady improvement all along throughout his career so far. And of course, Marlon got sidetracked with some injuries, but we were seeing Marlon really coming along about this time in his career, and you know, we saw signs at the end of last year. We saw him have a very good spring, a good summer, good fall. He was very, you know, he's another guy that got trimmed, a guy that went from probably in the 220s to 205 to make sure he was very quick and could get that speed started faster, because he still had that good top end speed, but it took him too long to get there. And now with losing the weight, he's just smoother out of his break, and he can get going full speed faster.
Did you guys give any thought to having Bielis do just extra points going forward, or is that too specialized to have one guy do
No,
that?
you could do that, but I think that, like I said, if you went strictly by what they've done in practice and you were trying to compete and decide who should be the guy with extra points, short range and long range field goal, it would all be Marshall right now. But you know, I'd like to say again publicly that Bielis was tremendous for us. He made every kick we asked him to make, and he was there when the team needed him. And I just told him just to stay ready, as you never know what can happen, and we'll go from there.
Is Tim Kimbrough and Reggie Carter, of the true freshman linebackers, still the ones you kind of foresee maybe having the best chance of getting some more playing time with Herrera?
Well, Reggie'd be I'd say number one, and you know, between Kimbrough, Ryan Rankin, maybe might be the guys that are closing in on playing time. Kimbrough made a real big hit today, but then he gets out of position a few times. You know, I think when he really learns it, he's going to be good. He walks around in a hidden position. He's just one of those linebackers that really can get low and play low. He's down in his stance, in a good striking position, but he moves around that way out there. A lot of guys will just rise right back up and play too high. This guy, he gets under people's pads, and when he thumps them, he knocks them back. I like how he's playing, but he just got to keep learning.
Are you worried though about having somebody back there? 'Cause again, I mean, having them all over and going full time all day
Yeah, I mean,
long.
I'd like to see more of a substitution pattern there, and we just got to gain confidence. But I think Reggie's farthest along, you know, being here in the spring, and he had a pretty good camp. So we know that Reggie could play either one if he needed to. He's really first one up at either position.
Is there anybody else at all above the outside linebacker you could cross train inside as well?
You could, but right now we're just staying like we got it.
Coach, now that you've played both J.J. Green and Brendan Douglas in a game, is it kind of safe to assume A.J. Turner might redshirt this year?
I don't know yet. You know, this at running back, you just can't hardly say that too fast, because it's a position that is very, you know, it's high contact position, and you never know what can happen within, you know, one game. One game can change everything. So I wouldn't say that yet, but you know, those guys, that's pretty much the pecking order though, where we're at right now. And you know, he's able to play. He practiced full speed, scrimmaged full speed today. He looked good. You know, the injury certainly slowed him down, but he had a nice day running the ball today.
I know Jonathan Rumpf hasn't played yet, but I know that he's in the plan. So are there other signees that haven't played yet that you think still might get in this next game or going forward?
Sure there are. I'm trying to think. I mean, Wiggins has been in on some special teams plays already, and you know, he may get some scrimmage downs, and you know, he's working hard to try to put himself in position for that. And I don't know if Margaret's had any scrimmage downs. I'm trying to think right now. I know he's had a couple special teams downs, and maybe we can get Margaret some work, and you know, like we say, Reggie Carter, hopefully. And, that's about all I can just think of off the top of my head.
Is that third string running back spot still up for grabs, or do you say Douglas is in the lead after his game?
Well, Douglas, he's definitely found a niche as far as short yardage, goal line, you know, 4-minute offense, which is when you're trying to end the game like we were doing. I think he would be first to go in there. But now, out in the field, first, second quarter, you know, we put him in front of JJ. I don't know if that's been established or not.
Speaking of Bruton, it was really interesting circumstances. He got his first career carries the other day. You know, y'all were trying to run the clock out. He's
Right.
like, man, when he hasn't touched the ball in a game, then he really delivered.
In a big game, yeah, in a big, you know, and if Keith was not hurt, he probably wouldn't have got that opportunity, but he got the opportunity, and he took great advantage of it. Every time we've seen him scrimmage, we saw what you guys saw, you know, a really powerful runner who's got good ball security and some good vision. So he, like I've been saying, he's a very legitimate Southeastern Conference tailback in my opinion, and I think he's going to have a good career for us before it's over.
After that, for one more, did you have an inkling Gurley would be this good back
When we signed him,
when you signed him?
the first time we scrimmaged, I thought he'd be pretty good. I mean, the very first time we scrimmaged, I knew he's going to be pretty darn good. And then it didn't take long in the competition, in the games where people just bouncing off him and him running away from people. Even the kickoff was pretty exceptional. And then the bigger the game got, the more excited he got about it. You could see he loves it. He loves the big game. He loves that atmosphere. You know, some guys kind of get a little nervous or whatever. He's like, he feeds off it. I think he's gonna, you know, once you saw that, that's probably the last thing you needed to see. And but he has really improved as a pass protector, route runner, ball catcher. Really has a great understanding of what we're doing this year compared to a year ago. So he's even better for that reason too.
All right.